Ladies and gentlemen, this is John O'Brien. I just want you to know that George Papadopoulos is a man you should never trust. He's not made of the fine fibers that James Comey and Clapper and yours truly are made of. The moral fibers that make this nation great. The moral fibers that weave around Madam Secretary Hillary Clinton in a cocoon-like state to ensure that she runs again in 2020. Because she will. Right now you will hear Papadopoulos in his swarthy, just irrational manner saying that we spied on him even before the election. No, sorry. Even before the Russians infiltrated the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Those Russians exposing corruption within the United States. Don't you know that's a job for nobody to do? How dare they expose corruption? The Russians informed you that Bernie Sanders was cheated. That is an example of espionage times 1,000. Only we should cover up that Bernie Sanders was cheated and make sure that Bernie Sanders promotes the myth that says that he was cheated, but it was a Russian plot to inform the country that he was cheated. Yes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to hear Papadopoulos speaking to Laura Ingraham. That was John O'Brien. And you're going to hear John O'Brien basically say some nonsense, the usual nonsense that comes out of his mouth. The big fat mouth of a corrupt intel official. I don't do intelligence, I do evidence. No, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. That fake transatlantic accent. Anyway, here's Papadopoulos. They spied on him prior to the DNC even being hacked, which they didn't. We have no clue because CrowdStrike was outsourced. But let's listen to Papadopoulos. They spied on him before any of this was an issue. So when James Baker said, gosh, this is in the beginning of this, James Baker says, gosh, there's so much going on. There was a great deal of espionage. They had infiltrated the DNC, and my goodness, we were trying to protect the country. Not really. The country is not the Democratic National Committee. It's just a corrupt entity that has nothing to do with the U.S. government. But anyway, let's continue. They tried to make this out that, Papadopoulos was just a natural repercussion of all the horrendous things taking place. That is not true. They went after George Papadopoulos. They framed and set him up just like they framed and set up General Michael Flynn. And everything you hear now with Flynn, Flynn said this. Well, nobody was charged with obstruction. So, and the Mueller probe, the Mueller team did not hide behind, we can't indict a sitting president. Then why'd you engage in a 2-year probe? Why, for 2 years, did you engage in a probe? What was the point? But let's continue. This is Papadopoulos. He's going to confirm right now. They were trying to set him up with Mifsud. The professor at Gilligan's Island has a closer tie to Vladimir Putin than Mifsud does. They did not interview Mifsud. The Mueller team failed to interview, did not interview, refused to interview Mifsud, and Mifsud, when he was interviewed by the FBI, declined everything. Stated, I don't really have ties with Papadopoulos or the Russians. So, he was interviewed by the FBI, beginning of 2017, but the Mueller probe refused to interview Joseph Mifsud. I wonder why. Now he's in the Witness Protection Agency in Italy. I don't know where he is, but he's certainly not front and center. But let's continue. Let's listen to this.
And claiming that this is all copacetic. Let's watch. I do believe it's important that there be an understanding about just how strongly predicated that investigation was. I was there in the summer of 16, and it was very well predicated.
Well predicated, George? I want to make...
It was well predicated. It was well predicated. We asked Hillary Clinton, and she informed us that there was a lot of devious activity going on. So we asked then Brian Fallon, and then we asked Uma Abedin, and then we asked Bill Clinton, and then we asked everyone around her, do you think that Trumpy is a bad person? And do you think that Trumpy would work with the Putin? Give me your thoughts. Give me your unbiased opinion. And then we asked Strocky Poo, Peter Strzok. So we asked Hillary Clinton, Peter Strzok, Uma Abedin, and Deborah Wasserman Schultz. And they all told us in their unbiased, objective statements that Trump is an orange monster. And we rolled with it. Basically, essentially what took place. Everything was predicated upon information that was outsourced by Hillary Clinton. So here we go. The Steele dossier and CrowdStrike were all outsourced by Clinton, but let's continue with this.
Well predicated, George? I want to make it very clear that by the time that I joined the Trump campaign, before my name was even public, an FBI intermediary named Arvinder Sambe at a company I used to work for in London introduced me to this person, Joseph Mifsud, at a school, I should say, called Link Campus, which the CIA and the FBI trains at. Fast forward to April of 2016, the Australian government is reaching out, trying to connect with me. 10 Downing Street is connecting with me. And then, of course, which I find very suspicious, is that the DIA reached out to me at the U.S. Embassy in London. These two individuals named Gregory Baker and Terrence Dudley, just days before this infamous meeting I had with Alexander Downer, who I've testified under oath, and I've reported both to the FBI and Bob Mueller that I felt that he was spying on me. And something I want to, make clear about this meeting.
So before the DNC was hacked, yeah, right, by the Russians to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated, we only know that from a CrowdStrike assessment. We have absolutely no confirmation from the United States government that the DNC was even hacked. That's in the ODNI and DHS reports. I explained that in my Federalist article, and I link to the actual warranty disclaimers within the ODNI and DHS reports. But it's important to remember that George Papadopoulos was framed and set up long before the alleged DNC hack. This is the problem with James Baker's. Now, it's hilarious, too, because James Baker and Comey, they think that, look, they know that they're in hot water. So the best thing, what they say is, well, you know what, we'll just limit everything. We'll try to, tooth and nail, fight and scratch and claw, and utilize the media to help us out. The media has already been discredited beyond belief. So when James Baker, who, by the way, wanted Clinton to be indicted, when James Baker says, we only went after Papadopoulos because we had all of this information about the DNC hack. Well, no, they were trying to cultivate, and they were trying to set up and frame George Papadopoulos prior to everything. This is a huge revelation that undermines the story that Brennan, Clapper, Comey, Strzok, McCabe, all of them have. Their story essentially is that we had to listen to Alexander Downer and his conversation with Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos was in Trump's campaign, and according to Alexander Downer, he knew about emails from Joseph Mifsud, who has ties to Russia. This is hearsay and gossip. This is a middle school gossip, a rumor. Hey, so-and-so was dating so-and-so? Well, how do you know? Well, I know that so-and-so is dating so-and-so. In fact, so-and-so cheated on so-and-so. And so-and-so was friends with so-and-so. And I know that person's brother. Oh, okay, let's start a criminal probe. That's exactly what took place, but let's listen to this again.
I want to make it very clear that by the time that I joined the Trump campaign, before my name was even public, an FBI intermediary named Arvinder Sambe at a company I used to work for in London introduced me to this person, Joseph Mifsud, at a school, I should say, called Link Campus, which the CIA and the FBI trains at. Fast forward to April of 2016, the Australian government is reaching out, trying to connect with me. 10 Downing Street is connecting with me.
Why are the British and Australian governments trying to connect with Papadopoulos even before his meeting with Alexander Dumbo Downer? And where is Dumbo Downer now? Doesn't he know that William Barr could potentially ask him to come to Congress? Doesn't Alexander Dumbo Downer in Australia someplace know that William Barr might be like, maybe we should ask Alexander Downer to find out what's going on? And if Downer says, he didn't know about anything, and, he never told the FBI that Papadopoulos knew anything, there goes the entire foundation. The edifice just crumbles. They went after Papadopoulos before. They went after Flynn, we know from President Trump's tweets today, before. President Trump used the T word, rhymes with reason, with the T before it. What does that spell? Reason with a T before it. What does that spell? But, But let's listen to this again. This is important.
Was very well predicated.
It was so well predicated that we actually hypnotized Bill Clinton, and he sounded like this. I believe the Russians. I believe they had like a bunch of bodily fluids rain down upon Donald Trump, and he enjoyed it. And in fact, he enjoyed it so much, they had so much on him that, no, don't bring up the uranium deal. No, do not bring up the fact that I met with Vladimir Putin. My God, you're as dumb as you look. Hillary, fire this man. Oh my God. So predicated on everything. It wasn't predicated, it was predicated on an overt, transparent, blatant attempt at undermining a duly elected president. This was essentially, they tried to remove a duly elected president, and they failed. And now it's the big payback, like James Brown. The big payback.
Well predicated, George? I want to make it very clear that by the time that I joined the Trump campaign, before my name was even public, an FBI intermediary named Arvinder Sambe at a company I used to work for in London introduced me to this person, Joseph Mifsud, at a school, I should say, called Link Campus, which the CIA and the FBI trains at. Fast forward to April of 2016, the Australian government is reaching out, trying to connect with me. 10 Downing Street is connecting with me. And then, of course, which I find very suspicious, is that the DIA reached out to me at the U.S. Embassy in London. These two individuals named Gregory Baker and Terrence Dudley, just days before this infamous meeting I had with Alexander Downer, who
Dumbo Downer.
Testified under oath, and I've reported both to the FBI and Bob Mueller that I felt that he was spying on me. And something I want to, make clear about this meeting with Downer, I don't think I was just suspicious that he was spying on me, because in my transcripts to Congress, you see people like Mark Meadows and John Radcliffe asking me if I ever was presented with transcripts of any meetings I had with Alexander Downer, Joseph Mifsud, or any of these strange people that were running into me, and I said no. So I think Congress probably has transcripts. They probably already know, and the president already knows that these people were spying, and it's going to be a big bombshell moving forward.
Ooh, this Laura Ingraham. So that's hilarious. They tried to get his wife to wear a wire also. This is exactly what the East German Stasi did. They got, if you're in Germany, God bless you, let me know. Is this true? Because this is true. The East German Stasi secret police, as I have people who watch in Germany, and I'm very, very happy, and thank you. The secret police in Germany got men and women, husbands and wives, to turn on each other. That is just a type of John O'Brennan thing to do, isn't it? Isn't that a type of John O'Brennan thing to do? That's if your mom or your wife, your mom would be the last one, hopefully, but your wife or your husband, in one case, a husband turned on his wife, who was an activist, a peace activist, anti-war. But my God, I mean, could you imagine? Could you imagine? That's what the Stasi would do. And it's what Brennan, Clapper, Comey, Strzok, McCabe all did. Oh my God, when Hillary runs again, can you imagine? She's going to run again. They're all going to jump on the same Titanic ship. Same iceberg. Different iceberg, but they'll still hit the same iceberg. And, what can I tell you? It's going to be the same thing all over again. Look, George Papadopoulos just completely obliterated all of the foundation, the justification, the legal defense of Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Brennan, all of them, the whole mishpacha, all of them, engaging in surveillance, tapping phones, engaging in criminal probes, starting the Mueller probe. The whole point was, well, gosh, we utilized the Papadopoulos conversation with Dumbo Downer. We utilized that in addition to the Steele dossier, prior to the Steele dossier, because there were so many things going on at the same time. But they were cultivating, they were after Papadopoulos prior to all of this, which shows a premeditated, it obviously shows intent, since they love the word intent. They actually assign intent to Trump on things that he has nothing to do with, whereas like logical, rational, reasonable intent with Clinton, they're like, well, you just can't prove anything. But if they are going after George Papadopoulos prior to even the DNC being infiltrated by the Russians to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated, then what do you think William Barr is going to say? He's going to say, wait a second, you were actually trying to cultivate Papadopoulos prior to all of this, so what's going on? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in, and check out my writing in the Federalist, the Jerusalem Post, the Daily Caller, and also check out Nick DiPaolo. He's an amazing comedian and also black conservative patriot. Absolutely phenomenal. He's amazing. And for those who want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. Your support is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much.